Episode 1, From Humble Beginnings, The Making of a Legend. Abraham Lincoln's story begins not in grandeur or privilege, but in the smoke-filled cabins of Kentucky and Indiana, where the harsh realities of frontier life shaped a young boy into a man of extraordinary resilience. And Episode 1 opens a window into the formative years that would define his character, revealing lessons in persistence, self-education, and the power of vision that resonate deeply with modern audiences in the United States. Born into poverty in 1809, Lincoln faced daily struggles that would have broken lesser spirits, chopping wood, tending livestock, and laboring tirelessly. Yet from this crucible emerged a remarkable curiosity and hunger for knowledge, as he borrowed books wherever he could, taught himself law and rhetoric, and cultivated the intellectual tools that would later make him a masterful leader and orator. And this journey from obscurity to purpose underscores a universal truth that greatness is often forged in adversity, a narrative deeply motivational for anyone striving to overcome humble beginnings, systemic challenges, or personal limitations. From these early years, Lincoln learned the value of observation, reflection, and empathy, because frontier life exposed him to human struggle in its rawest form, and he witnessed firsthand the inequalities, injustices, and hardships faced by those around him, particularly the enslaved and disenfranchised, a reality that shaped his moral compass and guided his lifelong commitment to equality and justice. Even as a young man, he displayed patience, careful judgment, and the ability to see multiple perspectives, qualities that would later distinguish him in the political arena, teaching a lesson that resonates with leaders today, that empathy and understanding, grounded in real human experience, are as critical to leadership as strategy or courage. Lincoln's rise was not sudden, and his early failures were frequent, a testament to his perseverance. He lost elections, faced ridicule, and endured personal tragedies, including the death of his beloved mother and later, the heartbreaks of adult life. Yet each setback became a stepping stone, teaching him resilience, humility, and the importance of long-term vision. And for a modern USA audience, this highlights a key motivational lesson, that every obstacle, loss, or failure carries a seed of future success when approached with determination, reflection, and unwavering commitment to purpose. His journey into law and politics began with self-education, as Lincoln immersed himself in legal texts, debates, and public speaking, mastering the tools of persuasion and logical argumentation without formal schooling, and this self-made brilliance became the cornerstone of his public career, illustrating that knowledge is power and initiative trumps circumstance, a lesson particularly relevant for Americans seeking inspiration in personal growth, career advancement, and leadership development. He moved from small-town lawyer to state legislator, honing skills that would later allow him to navigate the treacherous waters of national politics with unmatched clarity and integrity, proving that preparation, study, and practice can turn humble beginnings into extraordinary influence. Alongside his intellectual development, Lincoln cultivated a moral and philosophical framework that emphasized honesty, justice, and empathy, earning him the nickname Honest Abe long before national fame. And this reputation was not merely cosmetic, but the product of deliberate choices, integrity under pressure, and unwavering commitment to fairness, a principle that resonates today for Americans seeking leaders they can trust. In a time when personal gain often eclipsed principle, Lincoln's devotion to truth and moral clarity set him apart, teaching a timeless lesson. Character is a foundation of lasting influence, and public trust is built through consistent ethical action, even in the face of ridicule or adversity. Episode 1 concludes by framing Lincoln's life as a story of transformation, from a poor frontier boy to a man poised to lead a divided nation, emphasizing that early hardships, self-education, moral integrity, and perseverance are the building blocks of legendary leadership. And for modern viewers, particularly in the USA, his story offers inspiration, motivation, and actionable lessons. That greatness begins in small steps, that setbacks are part of the journey, and that leadership is not inherited but forged through courage, resilience, vision, and unwavering commitment to principle, setting the stage for the epic rise of America's 16th president. Do voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 2, Rising Through Politics, The Making of a Statesman. As Abraham Lincoln transitioned from frontier lawyer to aspiring politician, his journey into the complex world of Illinois state politics revealed both his extraordinary skill and his unyielding character. and Episode 2 explores a critical period where Lincoln transformed from a self-taught lawyer into a formidable statesman, demonstrating lessons in strategy, integrity, and perseverance that resonate deeply with modern American audiences. Entered the Illinois General Assembly as a Whig representative, Lincoln faced entrenched opponents, regional factions, and a political system rife with negotiation, compromise, and subtle maneuvering, yet he relied not on charisma alone, but on disciplined study of law, policy, and rhetoric, leveraging logic, honesty, and storytelling to make his positions compelling, a skill set that highlights the enduring importance of preparation, communication, and credibility in leadership, lessons that remain highly relevant to anyone navigating modern governance, business, or social influence. Lincoln's reputation for honesty and fairness, cultivated during his legal career, became his defining asset in the political arena as he consistently chose principled action over expedient shortcuts, gaining respect even from rivals. And Episode 2 emphasizes the motivational principle that integrity forms a cornerstone of lasting leadership because people trust leaders who act consistently, even under pressure, a truth that resonates strongly in the USA, where civic engagement, accountability, and transparency are highly valued, and where Lincoln's example serves as both inspiration and a blueprint for modern leaders seeking credibility, influence, and impact. The early political battles were far from easy, as Lincoln navigated contentious debates over infrastructure, banking, slavery, and expansion, balancing his moral convictions with practical strategy. And this period tested his judgment, patience, and persuasive abilities, revealing that true leadership requires the ability to adapt, negotiate, and influence without compromising core principles. His eloquence in debate, combined with his keen sense of timing and audience, allowed him to gradually build a reputation as a thoughtful, honest, and capable statesman, demonstrating to modern audiences that strategic communication, careful observation, and emotional intelligence are as critical to leadership as vision and courage, and that influence grows as trust and credibility are earned through repeated demonstration of competence and integrity. During this period, Lincoln also faced personal challenges that shaped his character, including political defeats, public criticism, and the complexities of managing a growing law practice alongside public service. And these experiences reinforce resilience, self-discipline, and focus, demonstrating a universal lesson. Success is seldom linear, and setbacks, whether electoral loss, public skepticism, or personal hardship, are opportunities to refine strategy, deepen understanding, and strengthen resolve, lessons that resonate strongly with Americans striving for career, personal, or social success, showing that persistence and adaptability are critical to long-term achievement. Episode 2 also highlights Lincoln's moral evolution, particularly in his understanding of slavery and human rights, as he witnessed the suffering of the oppressed firsthand and began shaping convictions that would later define his presidency. He balanced pragmatic politics with principled vision, demonstrating that leadership requires both the courage to act and the wisdom to choose the right moment for action, a lesson directly applicable to modern leaders facing ethical dilemmas, complex organizational decisions, or societal challenges, reinforcing that vision without pragmatism is vulnerable and pragmatism without vision is directionless, and Lincoln's mastery of both set him apart in a deeply divided society. As Lincoln built alliances, engaged in debates, and navigated Illinois' turbulent political landscape, he also honed his ability to inspire, motivate, and unify diverse groups, demonstrating that leadership is relational, not merely positional, and that influence grows through listening, understanding, and connecting with people at a human level, a principle critical to contemporary audiences who aspire to leadership in business, civic life, or social movements. His approach reveals that lasting impact is earned through empathy, dialogue, and moral clarity, as much as through intellect, strategy, or ambition. Episode 2 concludes by framing Lincoln's rise in Illinois politics as the pivotal bridge between humble beginnings and national influence, highlighting the development of a leader whose combination of moral integrity, intellectual discipline, emotional intelligence, and relentless perseverance would ultimately prepare him to confront the greatest challenges in American history. And for modern viewers, especially in the USA, his story delivers a profound motivational message. Leadership is earned through consistent character, strategic vision, and the courage to persevere amidst adversity, setting the stage for his eventual emergence as a national figure poised to change the course of the United States forever. DO voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 3, National Spotlight, the Lincoln-Douglas Debates and the Road to the Presidency. As Abraham Lincoln transitioned from Illinois politics to the national stage, Episode 3 illuminates the period where his intellectual rigor, moral clarity, and oratorical brilliance propelled him into the hearts and minds of a divided nation, demonstrating lessons in leadership, courage, and vision that resonate deeply with modern audiences in the USA. In 1858, Lincoln faced his most significant challenge yet, debating Senator Stephen A. Douglas for the U.S. Senate, a series of 7 debates that would not only define his political identity but also reveal his mastery of persuasion, strategic framing, and moral leadership, because while Douglas relied on pragmatic politics and popular sentiment, Lincoln articulated a vision of justice, equality, and national unity, standing firmly against the expansion of slavery while carefully navigating the complex political terrain, a balance of principle and pragmatism that offers timeless lessons for anyone seeking to lead in modern business, civic, or social arenas. The Lincoln-Douglas debates were not just political contests. They were cultural and ideological battles, as America teetered on the brink of division over slavery, states' rights, and the future of the Union, and Lincoln's ability to articulate moral conviction without alienating potential allies showcased his rare combination of courage, diplomacy, and intellect. He demonstrated that leadership requires more than policy knowledge. It demands empathy, timing, emotional intelligence, and the ability to inspire action through reasoned argument, storytelling, and moral authority, principles that resonate for modern audiences striving to lead with integrity and influence. Lincoln's speeches during these debates were transformative, as he framed slavery not merely as a political issue, but as a profound moral crisis threatening the nation's soul, and he used logic, analogy, and emotional resonance to make his message accessible to ordinary Americans, highlighting a key lesson in leadership and communication. The ability to translate complex issues into relatable, motivating narratives is essential for inspiring collective action, a truth as relevant for U.S. audiences today as it was in the mid-19th century. Though Lincoln ultimately lost the Senate race to Douglas, the debates established him as a national figure of integrity, intellect, and moral clarity, capturing the attention of political leaders, the press, and citizens across the country. And this moment illustrates a critical motivational principle. Short-term setbacks do not define long-term success, and visibility, credibility, and impact can be cultivated even in apparent defeat, a lesson especially relevant to Americans seeking personal, professional, or social advancement, where perseverance, learning from experience, and consistent messaging are essential to growth and influence. During this period, Lincoln also faced intense personal and political pressures, including criticism from rivals, scrutiny from press, and emotional strain of guiding a family while navigating political uncertainty. Yet he demonstrated remarkable resilience, discipline, and focus, proving that extraordinary leadership is forged not in comfort, but under sustained pressure, adversity, and scrutiny, and that character is revealed in moments of challenge, a lesson deeply motivational for USA audiences who aspire to lead, overcome obstacles, and maintain integrity in the face of complex pressures. Episode 3 also highlights Lincoln's strategic patience, as he positioned himself for the presidency through careful cultivation of alliances, public perception, and political capital, recognizing that timing, preparation, and moral authority are as critical as talent and ambition. His rise reflects the intersection of vision and strategy, teaching modern viewers that achieving extraordinary goals requires both long-term planning and the courage to act decisively when opportunity aligns with readiness, a principle that resonates strongly with USA audiences in business, politics, and personal development. By the end of Episode 3, Lincoln had transformed from a respected state legislator into a symbol of moral leadership and national promise, poised to guide the United States through its most existential crises, and his story offers a profound motivational message. That vision, perseverance, integrity, and strategic acumen can elevate ordinary beginnings into historic impact, proving to modern audiences that greatness is not merely inherited or given, but earned through dedication, resilience, and the courage to stand firmly for what is right, even in the face of overwhelming opposition, setting the stage for his election as the 16th President of the United States and his emergence as a leader who would forever change the nation. DO voice over full 10 minutes. Episode 4, Rising to the Presidency, Secession, Crisis, and the Weight of Leadership. As Abraham Lincoln assumed the presidency in 1861, Episode 4 delves into the immense pressures, political complexities, and moral challenges that immediately confronted him, demonstrating for modern USA audiences a profound lessons of leadership under crisis, and showing how courage, vision, and unwavering principle can guide a nation through its darkest hours. Lincoln inherited a fractured nation, with 11 southern states already declaring secession and forming the Confederacy and his first days in office were marked by uncertainty, fear, and the looming threat of civil war, a challenge that required not only political acumen, but also profound moral clarity, patience, and decisiveness, because the survival of the Union depended on both strategy and leadership, a lesson that resonates with modern Americans facing divisions, uncertainty, and high-stakes decision-making. From the outset, Lincoln navigated treacherous political waters, balancing the need to enforce federal authority with a moral imperative to avoid unnecessary bloodshed, and he relied on meticulous planning, intelligence gathering, and counsel from trusted advisors, demonstrating that effective leadership requires both principle and pragmatism, courage and calculation, and that decision-making under extreme pressure demands foresight, ethical grounding, and adaptability, lessons that echo for contemporary audiences confronting personal, professional, or societal challenges where stakes are high and outcomes uncertain. Episode 4 also emphasizes Lincoln's remarkable ability to communicate and inspire as he addressed both Congress and the public, framing the secession crisis not as a political dispute, but as a threat to the enduring principles of democracy, liberty, and national unity. And in doing so, he modeled for modern viewers how leaders can leverage clarity of vision, moral authority, and persuasive communication to mobilize action, maintain cohesion, and build trust even in times of profound division, demonstrating that words, when combined with integrity, strategy, and empathy, are as powerful as armies in shaping outcomes. The episode explores Lincoln's early decisions in the conflict, including his insistence on preserving federal forts, mobilizing troops, and navigating international diplomacy, which required balancing competing priorities while maintaining national legitimacy. And through these actions, Lincoln exemplified the qualities of patience, strategic foresight, and resilience, showing that leadership is as much about timing and judgment as it is about courage, and that the ability to act decisively, while remaining morally grounded, defines enduring influence, a principle that resonates deeply with USA audiences striving for excellence in leadership and decision-making. Lincoln also faced intense personal and political criticism, with rivals, the press, and public opinion often questioning his strategy, temperament, and moral clarity, yet he maintained focus, demonstrating extraordinary emotional intelligence, self-discipline, and conviction. And this aspect of his leadership illustrates to modern viewers that resilience, focus, and clarity of purpose are essential to navigating adversity, because even the most competent and ethical leaders are tested by skepticism, opposition, and societal pressures, and how they respond shapes both legacy and impact. Episode 4 highlights the growing moral dimension of Lincoln's presidency, as the issues of slavery, human rights, and national survival became increasingly intertwined, forcing him to balance ethical imperatives with political realities, illustrating for modern audiences that leadership requires constant negotiation between idealism and pragmatism, vision and strategy, and that sustaining progress often demands both courage and compromise, a lesson that resonates for Americans seeking guidance in leadership, policymaking, or personal growth in complex, high-stakes environments. By the conclusion of Episode 4, Lincoln had established himself as a leader of exceptional moral and strategic capacity, navigating the United States to the edge of civil war while preserving hope for unity, demonstrating that extraordinary leadership emerges not in calm or comfort, but under pressure, uncertainty, and adversity. And the story offers modern motivational insight that courage, integrity, preparation, and perseverance enable leaders to guide others through unprecedented challenges, and that a clear vision, grounded in principle, can inspire action, maintain cohesion, and ultimately define the legacy of a nation and its people, setting the stage for the transformative events of Civil War and Lincoln's defining role as America's most revered president. D.O. voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 5, Leading Through War, the Civil War Strategy and Unyielding Resolve. As the Civil War erupted in 1861, Abraham Lincoln faced the ultimate test of leadership, and Episode 5 explores how the 16th President of the United States navigated unprecedented national crisis, demonstrating resilience, moral courage, and strategic brilliance that continues to inspire modern audiences in the USA. With the Confederacy mobilizing armies across southern states and the Union struggling to respond effectively, Lincoln confronted immense political pressure, divided public opinion, and a constant threat of military failure. Yet he approached these challenges with methodical analysis, clear priorities, and unwavering commitment to the preservation of the Union, showing that leadership under extreme pressure requires both vision and pragmatism, courage and patience, and an ability to balance moral imperatives with practical realities, lessons that resonate strongly for Americans aspiring to lead, influence, and persevere in their own high-stakes endeavors. Lincoln's approach to war was multifaceted, combining careful selection of generals, strategic oversight of military campaigns, and constant engagement with both political and public opinion, ensuring that every decision served both the tactical needs of the battlefield and the broader objective of national preservation. And in doing so, he demonstrated the power of informed, data-driven, and ethically guided leadership, showing that even in chaos, clarity of purpose and deliberate decision making are essential for long-term success, and that an unwavering focus on mission, balanced with empathy and communication, can maintain cohesion in the face of division and fear. Episode 5 also highlights Lincoln's personal resilience as he endured the daily weight of war alongside personal tragedy, including the loss of close friends and the suffering of the nation, yet he remained committed to leading with integrity, vision, and moral clarity, demonstrating to modern viewers that true leadership is tested not in moments of comfort, but under sustained adversity, and that perseverance, emotional intelligence, and the courage to act decisively are critical components of enduring influence, principles that resonate with Americans seeking motivation, guidance, and insight in leadership, business, or personal growth. His communication strategy during the Civil War became a defining feature of his presidency, as Lincoln used speeches, letters, and public addresses to shape national morale, articulate the Union's purpose, and appeal to both ethical and patriotic sentiment, illustrating the timeless lesson that leadership is as much about narrative, vision, and inspiration as it is about logistics, strategy, or policy, and that leaders who master the ability to motivate, unify, and influence through communication can achieve lasting impact even amid crisis, a truth that modern USA audiences can apply to organizational leadership, political engagement, and personal influence. Lincoln's evolving strategies also included balancing military innovation with political prudence, recognizing the need to delegate tactical decisions while maintaining ultimate authority, cultivating generals he could trust, and learning from both victories and defeats, a process that reveals the critical leadership lesson that adaptability, humility, and reflection are essential to sustaining success under pressure, and that true leaders embrace continuous learning, course correction, and strategic foresight as tools to navigate complexity, risk, and uncertainty. Episode 5 further underscores the moral dimensions of Lincoln's leadership during wartime, as he grappled with the human cost of conflict, the ethical implications of military strategy, and the imperative to preserve liberty while enforcing national authority, illustrating to modern audiences that leadership is not merely about achieving outcomes, but about making difficult decisions guided by principle, empathy, and long-term vision, and that the courage to confront ethical dilemmas with integrity is what distinguishes great leaders from merely competent ones. By the end of Episode 5, Lincoln had established himself not only as commander-in-chief, but also as a moral compass for a nation in turmoil, showing that extraordinary leadership combines strategic insight, emotional intelligence, resilience, moral clarity, and the ability to inspire collective action. And for modern USA audiences, his story offers profound motivational insight that even under most intense pressure, with lives, futures, and ideals at stake, steadfast vision, courage, and principled action can shape history, preserve unity, and leave a legacy that transcends generations, setting the stage for the transformative decisions, emancipation policies, and enduring leadership that would define Lincoln's ultimate impact on the nation. DO voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 6, Emancipation and Moral Leadership, defining the nation's conscience. As the Civil War raged on into its third year, Abraham Lincoln faced not only military and political challenges, but also the defining moral question of his presidency. And Episode 6 delves into the critical period where Lincoln's leadership transcended strategy and became a symbol of justice, human dignity, and transformative vision for modern audiences in the USA. Understanding that the war was as much about human freedom as national preservation, Lincoln began preparing the Emancipation Proclamation, a bold and unprecedented move that would redefine the moral foundation of the United States and signal to the world that the nation was committed not merely to survival, but to principle, equality, and the expansion of liberty, teaching a timeless lesson that true leadership combines courage, vision, and ethical conviction, and that transformative impact often requires acting decisively even in the face of opposition, risk, and uncertainty. Lincoln's path to emancipation was fraught with political tension as he balanced the demands of Congress, the pressures of border states, and the opinions of a divided public, showing for modern USA audiences that effective leadership is always a delicate balance of principle and pragmatism, strategy and morality, courage and patience. He understood that bold action without strategic timing could jeopardize both the war effort and the fragile political cohesion of the Union. And yet he remained unwavering in his commitment to justice, illustrating that visionary leaders anticipate long-term consequences, communicate purpose clearly, and act decisively when a moral imperative demands it. Episode 6 highlights Lincoln's extraordinary communication skills, as he used speeches, letters, and personal appeals to frame emancipation not only as a military necessity, but as a moral and ethical obligation, transforming public perception and inspiring loyalty among soldiers, citizens, and allies. His rhetoric, grounded in logic, compassion, and moral authority, demonstrates to modern viewers that leaders must master the ability to motivate, educate, and unify diverse audiences through clarity, integrity, and authenticity, lessons that resonate for Americans navigating political, social, or professional influence, and that enduring impact is earned when vision is paired with ethical action and compelling communication. The implementation of the Emancipation Proclamation in January 1863 also marked a turning point in the Civil War, as it reframed the conflict globally, strengthened the Union cause, and allowed for the enlistment of African American soldiers, demonstrating Lincoln's strategic foresight in aligning moral leadership with practical outcomes. For modern audiences, this exemplifies a critical leadership principle. Moral courage can enhance strategic advantage, and decisions grounded in ethics and justice can simultaneously strengthen purpose, cohesion, and long-term success, a lesson highly relevant in contemporary governance, business, and social initiatives where moral clarity drives sustainable impact. Lincoln's personal resilience was tested as he navigated mounting casualties, political opposition, and the immense burden of shaping the nation's conscience, yet he remained steadfast, reflecting a combination of emotional intelligence, self-discipline, and unwavering moral focus. Episode 6 illustrates that leadership is as much about endurance, humility, and ethical consistency as it is about vision, and that the ability to maintain clarity of purpose under intense pressure defines a legacy of transformative figures, offering modern USA audiences motivation to persist through challenges while remaining committed to principle, vision, and justice. Episode 6 also explores Lincoln's evolving moral philosophy as he increasingly recognized the interconnectedness of liberty, equality, and national survival, and he acted decisively to ensure that the Union's triumph would not be measured solely in military victories, but also in the advancement of human dignity, highlighting for contemporary viewers that leadership is ultimately judged not by short-term outcomes, but by the enduring values and principles it upholds, and that true influence is inseparable from ethical responsibility, vision, and courage. By the end of Episode 6, Lincoln had redefined the Union's purpose, turning the Civil War into a battle not just for survival, but for justice and human rights, illustrating for modern USA audiences that leadership grounded in moral clarity, strategic insight, and empathetic understanding can transform nations and inspire generations, and that even amidst chaos, adversity, and division, principled action paired with courage and strategic foresight leaves a legacy that transcends time, setting the stage for Lincoln's continued role as a guiding force through the Civil War, the preservation of the Union, and the enduring fight for equality and justice. Dio voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 7, Mastering Leadership, Lincoln's wartime strategy and political genius. As the Civil War pressed into its middle years, Abraham Lincoln emerged not only as the commander-in-chief of a fractured nation, but as a master strategist, statesman, and moral leader. And Episode 7 delves into the extraordinary period where his decisions, foresight, and ability to unify disparate factions define the trajectory of American history, demonstrating to modern USA audiences timeless lessons about leadership, resilience, and vision. Facing immense military, political, and social pressure, Lincoln skillfully navigated the complexities of war while maintaining the integrity of his office, carefully balancing competing priorities, including the coordination of generals, the allocation of resources, the management of public opinion, and the delicate maintenance of alliances with border states, showing that effective leadership in moments of national crisis demands a convergence of strategy, diplomacy, communication, and ethical clarity. Lincoln's ability to manage generals, from early missteps with George McClellan to decisive appointments of leaders like Ulysses S. Grant, reflected a combination of analytical rigor, patience, and adaptability, and he constantly monitored campaigns, reassessed strategies, and made critical decisions under immense pressure, illustrating to modern audiences that leadership is not static, but requires continuous assessment, decisive action, and the courage to correct course, a principle applicable to all high-stakes arenas, including business, politics, and personal growth. His decisions exemplified the balance between delegation and accountability, showing that empowering competent leaders while maintaining ultimate oversight ensures both operational effectiveness and mission alignment, a lesson that resonates deeply for contemporary USA audiences seeking guidance on leading teams, organizations, and nations. Episode 7 also explores Lincoln's mastery of political strategy as he skillfully navigated partisan opposition, dissent within his own cabinet, and public criticism, demonstrating extraordinary emotional intelligence, persuasive communication, and ethical consistency. He framed wartime policies to align with both moral imperatives and practical outcomes, ensuring that the Union's efforts were not just militarily effective but also morally justified, highlighting a timeless lesson for modern leaders. The ability to combine ethics, vision, and strategy under pressure defines enduring influence, and that credibility, trust, and moral authority are as crucial as tactical skill in achieving long-term success. Lincoln's speeches, letters, and public addresses during this period further demonstrate his ability to inspire, educate, and unify a diverse populace as he appealed to shared values, national pride, and moral responsibility, motivating soldiers, citizens, and politicians to persevere through extraordinary hardships and offering modern USA audiences a powerful lesson in leadership communication. Clarity, authenticity, and vision are essential for motivating collective action, maintaining cohesion, and building trust, even in the face of overwhelming adversity and societal division. The episode also highlights Lincoln's evolving understanding of human behavior, politics, and conflict, as he carefully balanced immediate military needs with long-term goals, recognizing that patience, timing, and strategic foresight are critical to sustainable success, and that effective leaders must consider both short-term tactical victories and long-term outcomes, demonstrating that wisdom, reflection, and foresight are integral to high-stakes decision-making in any context, from national governance to corporate leadership to personal endeavors. Episode 7 emphasizes Lincoln's moral courage amidst these pressures as he navigated the human cost of war, weighed life-and-death decisions, and confronted ethical dilemmas with steadfast integrity, illustrating that leadership is inseparable from moral responsibility, and that decisions made under crisis define both immediate outcomes and enduring legacy, teaching modern viewers that resilience, ethical clarity, and courage are essential for guiding others through turbulent times and achieving lasting impact. By the conclusion of Episode 7, Lincoln had solidified his position as the nation's unifying force, demonstrating extraordinary strategic insight, moral vision, and leadership under unparalleled pressure, and the story offers profound motivational lessons for USA audiences. That courage, ethical conviction, strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, and resilience are the hallmarks of transformative leadership, and that even amidst chaos, division, and uncertainty, principled action and visionary decision-making can preserve a nation, inspire generations, and shape the course of history, setting the stage for the decisive victories and pivotal moments that would ultimately secure the Union and redefine the moral compass of the United States. Do voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 8, Triumph and Turmoil, Lincoln's leadership amid military victories and national challenges. As the Civil War reached its critical midpoint, Abraham Lincoln's leadership was tested on every front, And Episode 8 delves deeply into the extraordinary period where his strategic genius, moral courage, and unwavering vision guided a fractured nation through both triumph and turmoil, providing modern USA audiences with timeless lessons in perseverance, resilience, and ethical leadership. Faced with mounting casualties, political dissent, and the enormous challenge of maintaining national morale, Lincoln orchestrated key military campaigns that would ultimately shift the tide of the war, demonstrating a mastery of strategy that combined practical intelligence, foresight, and adaptability, showing that effective leadership demands not only vision and courage, but the ability to act decisively under pressure, anticipate challenges, and inspire confidence even when circumstances seem dire. Lincoln's understanding of his general strengths and weaknesses became a defining feature of his leadership during this period, as he carefully monitored campaigns, reassigned commanders, and ensured that military strategy aligned with broader objectives, proving to modern viewers that exceptional leaders must balance trust in their teams with careful oversight, adaptability, and the ability to make tough, sometimes unpopular, decisions in pursuit of long-term goals. His guidance during battles such as Gettysburg and Vicksburg highlighted his strategic patience, understanding of human behavior, and ethical consideration, demonstrating that leadership requires both tactical acuity and moral clarity, principles that remain relevant to USA audiences navigating complex professional, civic, or personal challenges. Episode 8 also examines Lincoln's ability to maintain unity across a deeply divided nation as he navigated intense political opposition, criticism from newspapers, and unrest in both the North and South, while simultaneously working to secure international support and prevent foreign intervention, showcasing his extraordinary skill in diplomacy, communication, and consensus building, and teaching modern Americans the value of resilience, tact, and strategic negotiation in achieving ambitious objectives amidst conflict and fragmentation. In addition to military and political challenges, Lincoln faced immense personal trials, including the loss of family members, the pressures of leadership, and the constant weight of guiding a nation through existential peril. And yet he remained steadfast, reflecting an extraordinary blend of emotional intelligence, self-discipline, empathy, and moral fortitude, illustrating for contemporary audiences that true leadership is forged under adversity, and that endurance, integrity, and vision are essential for guiding others through complex, high-stakes circumstances. The episode also emphasizes Lincoln's evolving understanding of freedom, equality, and national purpose, as he deepened his commitment to emancipation, the enlistment of African American soldiers, and the moral framing of the Union's cause, highlighting that leadership is inseparable from values, and that ethical conviction must guide decision-making even in the most pragmatic and strategic endeavors, providing a timeless lesson for Americans striving to balance principle, vision, and effectiveness in all areas of leadership, governance, and personal influence. Episode 8 further explores Lincoln's masterful communication during this pivotal period, as he used speeches, letters, and personal correspondence to shape public sentiment, articulate the moral stakes of the war, and motivate soldiers, civilians, and politicians alike, demonstrating that clarity, empathy, and moral authority are powerful tools for inspiring collective action and maintaining cohesion, a lesson that remains essential for USA audiences seeking guidance on leadership, persuasion, and influence in a polarized or high-pressure environment. By the conclusion of Episode 8, Lincoln had not only guided the Union through a series of decisive military victories, but had also strengthened the nation's moral foundation, solidified his legacy as a unifying leader, and provided a blueprint for leadership under pressure that resonates across generations. And the story offers modern motivational insight that courage, strategy, ethical clarity, and unwavering vision can guide nations and individuals alike through crisis, and that transformative leadership emerges when integrity, foresight, and resilience converge in moments of extraordinary challenge, setting the stage for Lincoln's final campaigns, the end of the Civil War, and the enduring legacy of freedom and unity he would leave for the United States. Do voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 8. Triumph and Turmoil, Lincoln's Leadership Amid Military Victories and National Challenges. As the Civil War reached its critical midpoint, Abraham Lincoln's leadership was tested on every front, and Episode 8 delves deeply into the extraordinary period where his strategic genius, moral courage, and unwavering vision guided a fractured nation through both triumph and turmoil, providing modern USA audiences with timeless lessons in perseverance, resilience, and ethical leadership. Faced with mounting casualties, political dissent, and the enormous challenge of maintaining national morale, Lincoln orchestrated key military campaigns that would ultimately shift the tide of the war, demonstrating a mastery of strategy that combined practical intelligence, foresight, and adaptability, showing that effective leadership demands not only vision and courage, but the ability to act decisively under pressure, anticipate challenges, and inspire confidence even when circumstances seem dire. Lincoln's understanding of his general's strengths and weaknesses became a defining feature of his leadership during this period, as he carefully monitored campaigns, reassigned commanders, and ensured that military strategy aligned with broader objectives, proving to modern viewers that exceptional leaders must balance trust in their teams with careful oversight, adaptability, and the ability to make tough, sometimes unpopular, decisions in pursuit of long-term goals. His guidance during battles such as Gettysburg and Vicksburg highlighted his strategic patience, understanding of human behavior, and ethical consideration, demonstrating that leadership requires both tactical acuity and moral clarity, principles that remain relevant to USA audiences navigating complex professional, civic, or personal challenges. Episode 8 also examines Lincoln's ability to maintain unity across a deeply divided nation as he navigated intense political opposition, criticism from newspapers, and unrest in both the North and South, while simultaneously working to secure international support and prevent foreign intervention, showcasing his extraordinary skill in diplomacy, communication, and consensus building, and teaching modern Americans the value of resilience, tact, and strategic negotiation in achieving ambitious objectives amidst conflict and fragmentation. In addition to military and political challenges, Lincoln faced immense personal trials, including the loss of family members, the pressures of leadership, and the constant weight of guiding a nation through existential peril. And yet he remained steadfast, reflecting an extraordinary blend of emotional intelligence, self-discipline, empathy, and moral fortitude, illustrating for contemporary audiences that true leadership is forged under adversity, and that endurance, integrity, and vision are essential for guiding others through complex, high-stakes circumstances. The episode also emphasizes Lincoln's evolving understanding of freedom, equality, and national purpose as he deepened his commitment to emancipation, the enlistment of African American soldiers, and the moral framing of the Union's cause, highlighting that leadership is inseparable from values and that ethical conviction must guide decision-making even in the most pragmatic and strategic endeavors, providing a timeless lesson for Americans striving to balance principle, vision, and effectiveness in all areas of leadership, governance, and personal influence. Episode 8 further explores Lincoln's masterful communication during this pivotal period, as he used speeches, letters, and personal correspondence to shape public sentiment, articulate the moral stakes of the war, and motivate soldiers, civilians, and politicians alike, demonstrating that clarity, empathy, and moral authority are powerful tools for inspiring collective action and maintaining cohesion, a lesson that remains essential for USA audiences seeking guidance on leadership, persuasion, and influence in a polarized or high-pressure environment. By the conclusion of Episode 8, Lincoln had not only guided the Union through a series of decisive military victories, but had also strengthened the nation's moral foundation, solidified his legacy as a unifying leader, and provided a blueprint for leadership under pressure that resonates across generations. And the story offers modern motivational insight that courage, strategy, ethical clarity, and unwavering vision can guide nations and individuals alike through crisis, and that transformative leadership emerges when integrity, foresight, and resilience converge in a moment of extraordinary challenge, setting the stage for Lincoln's final campaigns, the end of the Civil War, and the enduring legacy of freedom and unity he would leave for the United States. Do voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 10, Victory, Vision, and the Road to Healing. Lincoln's final campaigns and legacy. As the Civil War approached its conclusion, Abraham Lincoln faced the immense responsibility of not only securing victory for the Union, but also envisioning the moral and political future of a nation torn apart. And Episode 10 explores this extraordinary period where his leadership, foresight, and unwavering principles guided the United States through both triumph and the complex beginnings of reconciliation, providing modern USA audiences with profound lessons in strategic leadership, ethical courage, and vision-driven decision-making. Lincoln oversaw the final campaigns with meticulous care, balancing military strategy with political considerations, ensuring that decisive actions on the battlefield aligned with the broader objective of preserving the Union and upholding justice, demonstrating that transformative leadership requires both tactical acumen and moral clarity, a lesson that resonates strongly for Americans navigating leadership, governance, or personal endeavors in high-pressure, high-stakes environments. Throughout these final months, Lincoln displayed extraordinary emotional intelligence, patience, and resilience, managing generals, coordinating armies, and maintaining public morale, while confronting both internal and external pressures, highlighting for contemporary audiences that true leadership is tested under adversity, and that the ability to remain steadfast, composed, and strategic under stress distinguishes transformative leaders from mere administrators or managers. His unwavering focus on long-term goals, while managing immediate crises, illustrates the critical balance between vision and execution, a principle that applies across modern leadership contexts in politics, business, and social influence. Episode 10 emphasizes Lincoln's moral and ethical leadership, as he continued to champion emancipation, equality, and justice while preparing for the post-war reconstruction of the nation, demonstrating that effective leadership is inseparable from values, and that enduring influence is built upon principled action, moral courage, and a commitment to the greater good. Lessons that resonate profoundly with USA audiences striving to lead ethically, inspire change, and foster unity in divided or challenging environments. Lincoln's communication during this period further solidified his legacy as he addressed Congress, the press, and the public with clarity, conviction, and empathy, articulating the Union's moral purpose, the importance of national unity, and the need for reconciliation, showing modern viewers that leadership is as much about articulating vision and motivating collective action as it is about strategy, policy, or execution. The ability to inspire trust, galvanize support, and maintain cohesion through words paired with consistent action is a timeless lesson for Americans seeking guidance in leadership, influence, or civic engagement. The episode also highlights Lincoln's personal resilience as he navigated immense emotional and physical pressures, including the losses of war, the weight of national responsibility, and the personal toll of guiding a nation in crisis. Yet he remained steadfast, demonstrating that endurance, emotional fortitude, and unwavering focus are essential qualities for leaders who aim to create lasting impact, teaching modern audiences that perseverance under adversity is a defining trait of transformative leadership. Episode 10 further examines Lincoln's strategic foresight in planning for post-war America, including the groundwork for Reconstruction, the reintegration of Southern states, and the protection of civil liberties for freed slaves, illustrating that visionary leadership anticipates future challenges while decisively addressing present needs, a principle that remains crucial for modern USA audiences navigating organizational, civic, or societal leadership roles where long-term impact is the ultimate measure of success. By the conclusion of Episode 10, Lincoln had secured Union victory, redefined the nation's moral compass, and laid the foundation for the enduring principles of liberty, justice, and equality, offering a timeless motivational lesson that courage, vision, ethical integrity, resilience, and strategic acumen together create transformative leadership capable of guiding nations, inspiring generations, and leaving a legacy that transcends time. And his story serves as a powerful reminder to USA audiences that even amidst turmoil, division, and unprecedented challenges, principled action, unwavering focus, and visionary leadership can achieve outcomes that shape history, heal nations, and elevate humanity. Do voice over a full 10 minutes. Episode 11, Lincoln's Legacy, Triumph, Tragedy, and Enduring Lessons of Leadership. As Abraham Lincoln guided the United States through its most turbulent era, Episode 11 serves as a culminating chapter, reflecting on the extraordinary convergence of moral courage, strategic brilliance, and unyielding perseverance that define his life, presidency, and legacy, offering modern USA audiences a timeless blueprint for leadership, resilience, and ethical vision. From his humble beginnings to his rise in Illinois politics, his debates with Stephen Douglas, his election to the presidency, and the unprecedented challenges of the Civil War, Lincoln exemplified the principles of integrity, courage, and moral clarity, showing that enduring influence is built not on position alone, but on a consistent alignment of action, principle, and vision, and that true leadership requires balancing strategy, pragmatism, and empathy in pursuit of justice and national unity. During the final years of the Civil War, Lincoln demonstrated extraordinary skill in coordinating military victories, guiding generals, managing political factions, and inspiring a nation under siege. And Episode 11 highlights how his strategic foresight and ethical leadership allowed the Union to prevail, transforming the United States not merely through battlefield success, but through profound moral redefinition of freedom and equality. His issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation and advocacy for the enlistment of African American soldiers illustrated the integration of ethical imperatives with practical strategy, demonstrating that leadership that is principled, visionary, and courageous can achieve both moral and tangible victories, lessons that resonate deeply with contemporary USA audiences navigating leadership, social change, or high-stakes decision-making. Episode 11 further explores Lincoln's ability to unite a divided nation, maintaining hope and coherence among a citizenry facing unimaginable loss, political unrest, and social upheaval, and through speeches like the Gettysburg Address, he crystallized the moral and civic purpose of the United States, emphasizing liberty, equality, and national unity. For modern viewers, his example teaches that inspiring collective action requires not only vision and strategic clarity, but also the ability to communicate values, ethics, and goals in ways that resonate deeply, cultivate trust, and foster shared purpose, principles that are as essential in contemporary society, business, and governance as they were in 19th century America. Lincoln's personal resilience, emotional intelligence, and unwavering dedication to principle amidst immense personal and national adversity remain central to Episode 11, illustrating that transformative leadership is forged under pressure, uncertainty, and loss, and that the character of leaders revealed not in comfort but in the courage, endurance, and moral clarity with which they navigate crises. Modern USA audiences are motivated by the insight that true leadership demands both strength and empathy, decisiveness and patience, strategy and ethical grounding, and that enduring impact arises from a lifetime of principled action coupled with unwavering vision. The episode also addresses the tragic conclusion of Lincoln's life, including his assassination at Ford's Theater in April 1865, and underscores how his death immortalized his commitment to unity, liberty, and justice, creating a legacy that transcends time and continues to inspire Americans worldwide. His assassination, while a national tragedy, amplified the moral and civic lessons of his leadership, reminding modern audiences that the consequences of courageous, visionary action often extend far beyond individual and can shape history, culture, and collective identity, reinforcing the idea that principled leadership leaves an indelible mark on society. Episode 11 examines Lincoln's posthumous influence, highlighting how his vision of a united, free, and just America-guided Reconstruction shaped constitutional amendments and inspired generations of leaders, activists, and citizens. His legacy exemplifies that transformational leadership is measured not only by immediate outcomes, but by enduring ethical impact, cultural influence, and the ability to inspire others to uphold shared values, showing USA audiences that character, integrity, and vision are the foundation of lasting societal progress, and that leaders who act decisively and ethically in times of crisis can redefine the course of a nation and leave lessons for generations. By the conclusion of Episode 11, Lincoln's life story provides a comprehensive motivational and instructional narrative. From humble beginnings to political mastery, from moral conviction to strategic leadership, and from wartime resilience to the shaping of national identity, Lincoln exemplifies that true greatness arises from the convergence of courage, vision, moral clarity, resilience, and the capacity to inspire others. And for modern USA audiences, his story delivers a profound message that leadership rooted in principle, executed with strategy, and guided by empathy can overcome division, crisis, and adversity, preserve a nation, elevate humanity, and leave a legacy that endures across centuries, inspiring all who aspire to lead, influence, and make a difference in their communities, professions, and the world. Voice over a full 10 minutes.